What's up? Welcome to episode 16 of Yo, That's Weird with me, Sonia Z, and one of my favorite people in the whole world, Sidney Gantt, the hilarious Sidney Gantt. Love you,
Thank
Sid.
you. Thank you. Love you too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you for
Yeah,
finally coming on.
absolutely.
All
I
my
was, I
favorite.
wasn't, I wasn't, I wasn't avoiding you. Yeah.
I called you out on the internet for it.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I was just waiting for you to bring it up again. It's annoying booking guests for podcasts.
yeah.
It's a very frustrating thing. So I don't, like a lot of times when I ask somebody to do something, if they can't do it, I just like move on. I mean, I move on. No disrespect to them,
No,
but I just move on and they just have to come back up in my cycle. So I was like, maybe I just haven't come back up in her cycle yet.
it was true. I like to give people enough space. I'm respectful of boundaries.
Yeah.
All my favorite people so far, the right time, they came on at the right time. I asked. Our schedules don't line up, and then finally,
Hmm.
divine timing brings me a great episode with some of my funniest friends, and you're here now.
Yes.
You have a podcast that I feel like almost inspired me to kind of like finally put my foot down on doing one because when I came and did yours and realized like, oh, you're mixing spirituality and like the ethereal and esoteric with comedy and making it still funny.
Yeah. Yeah, we're having a good time over here. And I don't even I appreciate you saying that. Let me just say that first. Right?
Yeah.
But I don't even know if we're really doing that. If we're really because yeah, we are popping chakras, right? And we're about to change the name of the podcast, by the way.
Oh,
That's
okay.
so yeah, that's happening very soon. As soon as we get the new branding and everything, that we're just
Ooh,
gonna announce it all. But yeah, so we're definitely it's chakra based,
okay.
right? And I feel like though our introduction into chakras in like Eastern philosophy came through martial arts. So we, even though it is has a spiritual bent to it, I guess if you see it that way, we're really approaching it from the jock angle. You know what I mean?
I mean, the name says it. So like I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah,
forefront of it. That's the forefront of it. But it's the same way that I say like I'm a comedian and then a woman.
yeah. Okay, so Two Jack Bros is the current name,
Hmm.
but that's gonna change, and but the game remains the same. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, if I think if you're spiritual, you see it that way, but I don't think you have to be I don't think you have to be spiritual in order to laugh at all things, right?
No.
And so yeah, so we it's a really good opportunity for people to like they watch like having comedians explore themselves in ways that they don't necessarily get a chance to, which I know for a fact because multiple questions and everybody gets the same questions, but multiple questions on here, I constantly hear comedians say, I've never asked, I've never thought about this, you
Yeah.
know? So and then that pulls out stories that they didn't even remember they had a lot of times. So it's fun. There's a lot of cool, fun things happening. Um, when you, I think just when you find a way to do what you love and what you're interested in. So again, we're not necessarily trying to be spiritual, but it seems like some people sometimes get a spiritual effect out of it.
Yeah. Well,
So
there's people I've met, like for example, you guys do a little thing with tarot cards, like on yours.
mhm.
Yeah, okay. There's people I've talked to that have been like, what are tarot cards? So like you and
Yes.
I might in our realm of consciousness, we've experienced a lot of this stuff. We've been open to it and shown it, but like there's plenty of people that you're probably turning on to some of these thoughts about the chakras and all that for the first time, maybe.
Quite possibly, because I'll be perfectly honest with you. We do a tarot card reading on for every Patreon episode. We always do a tarot card reading, and I don't think I could tell you what tarot cards are. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I can give you an idea of how they work, but like I don't. Other than that, like I don't I don't know.
I
I
like
mean,
I like that you're on board with the science.
as much of the science as I can be, right? Because it's like, and that was the so when we originally started the podcast Two Jack Bros, it wasn't this. It wasn't us having comedians come on and asking them questions to pop open the chakras. That's not what it was. What it was it was a podcast where Ansley and I would talk about whatever, right? But but in our very bro like way, like we're not like we don't know the science of the things we're talking about. We know what we think the science should be, which is like a bro science, and then it was like bro philosophy, and it was like bro politics, So that's what the podcast originally, and that's kind of how we're very middle of the road people, when it comes to a lot of things. So, but except for the fact that we have a very bro approach to life,
Yeah.
it's, and I think that's like one of the things that's happened. I think that's the problem with like putting in too much information into your brain. I feel like people should only be able to process a limited amount of information. Like you should know, like even as a farmer, you can only know how to really farm like 2 crops.
Like really well. Like you want to
You
get the
know,
corn and the tomatoes really good.
that's it.
That's your
And then
specialty.
like your wife might grow radish on the windowsill or
Some
whatever, like
herbs.
herbs. You know what I mean? But other than like we're not supposed to know a lot of things, right? And that allows us to see the new things that are happening. So if something new is happening to you, you can see it more clearly when you have very limited information about it, because your fight or flight responses get activated, and you're viewing this thing in like bullet time, like 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 in action
Yep.
movies when they shoot, like yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you're seeing things, right?
Yeah.
But because like you fill your head with information, like I went to college, like I know what I'm talking about, it's
I've said that. I've said that sentence.
you know what I mean? Like I've read books. Like I can figure this out. Like whatever this new thing is,
Yeah.
it's not blowing my mind. I know exactly what this is.
Yeah.
It's this, right?
Yeah.
So it's like so it's a lot of that.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and like I don't know if that's healthy for humanity or not. You know what I mean? It's like just look at the way the pandemic was handled. It was like everybody on either side they all knew exactly what should be happening right now, right?
Yeah.
And I remember one time I put up a post on Facebook that was like, guys, let's just see what happens. Let's just we'll observe, we'll figure it out as we get. And it was like both of those sides hated me. Like the maskers and the anti-maskers, they like were like, you're a fucking bootlicker. It was like, wait, whose boot am I licking?
I
If you're
know.
both calling me a bootlicker. And it's yeah. People, I think people don't want to. Again, I mean, this it's a large part of my identity, like thinking that I know something that I don't know, and like coming up with like the physics of it, the biology of it, the interpersonal relationship of it,
Yeah.
just making it all up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I like your perspective. You've always been like that, though. You do not waver in your resolution of being like, I know what I know.
Yeah, I mean, because this thing, I only know what I know. That's it. Like I'm very comfortable
as you
with
should.
The rest of it, I'm just speculating.
Sure.
And I just, I trust my speculation. That's it.
I got good specs.
Yeah. I can't even tell you all time what my record is. Listen, I tell you what, if I have a winning record, then clearly I know what I'm talking about. If I have a losing record, well, you're about to see one of the best comebacks in the history of all time.
Yeah, I mean,
it's an underdog story.
It's classic. It's classic.
Yeah.
I'll make a movie about it.
Let me get my specs up.
Yeah. I like, I like things that are almost like the COVID thing is funny you said it, because it was like the worst thing to be now is a centrist of any sort, where you're like, let's just maybe chill on being so polarized. And with that, I had the same energy at the and you're perfectly healthy, like, you know what I mean, and I'm not. So but we had the same, like, hey, maybe just chill and don't go crazy.
Yeah.
Wash your hands, you disgusting mice people.
Yeah.
Your own shit most of the time.
Yeah, it was also too, it was like, can we just say that maybe people who are not wearing masks are also not killing your grandma, and the people who want to wear masks, it is possible that they're not mindless sheep, right? Like that's all I was trying to say. Like can't this possibly also be true?
Yeah.
It's but yeah, it was, people hated me for that. So
And people like to be so black and white in their thinking. It's crazy. You would think we would be progressed beyond that.
yeah, I only like to be black and white in my romantic relationships
Yeah.
and in
But
the people that I have children with.
and that's the new that's the best way to go, I think. I don't know. Let's make everyone just tan.
Oh, I would never say that. I mean, come on, that's a new form of racist. Like,
No, when we're all tan, nobody cares.
yeah. Well, no, I think that's like eventually the Antichrist is going to be some sort of biracial child, but whatever. It could be
um
mine. I don't know. I mean, like that's the thing, like
yeah. I mean,
I
you
don't want
got
it to be the case, but
you know, which one, the twins or your son?
see, it's tough, right? Because like both of those would be kind of like, well, of course it would be an evil twin, right? Or it would be like, like my son has very white skin, he has green eyes, like of course it's like the green-eyed white, it's like, yeah, it's so
Green's a variant. Green's a human variant.
yeah, they're like both of them, both options are too on the nose,
It could
you
be
know?
either. It could, yeah,
Yeah.
honestly. I had an article here about actually, now that you mentioned twins.
Hmm.
Let's see here. No, I had not heard of. I mean, I've heard of twins like
This is
eating each
babies having
other.
babies.
And I've heard of twins eating each other, but
Are these black babies having
this
babies?
these are they were talking about parasitic twins. Fetus and feta, fetus and fetu. How do you
Okay, so
say it?
this isn't a pregnant fetus.
No, it's a fetus that when it absorbs like a little piece would get stuck like in, here, let's say, from the other one when they're splitting and they don't split all the way. And instead of
Yeah.
becoming conjoined twins, which would normally happen if they kind of still stuck together, if the two embryos still stuck together, it's like it starts to just like gobble the other one up. And the other one can
Okay.
still be in there getting a blood supply through a tube still.
Can you scroll back down to the headline real
Yeah,
quick?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just like
Oh,
well up, yeah, the other way.
yeah.
Okay. See that a fetus in fetu, right?
Yes. Hmm.
When I read that as like a fetus and a fetus to the point that like a fetus was impregnated with a fetus,
Oh, gross.
right? And see,
I
see,
guess it
I would
kind of
have,
is.
but I would have read that headline, right? And I would have read the headline, and then 2 hours later, of course, I wouldn't check out the article because that's
Yeah.
not what I do. Um, I would have read the headline, and then the next time I talked to Ansley, it's like, man, I was just saw this article.
Oh,
Like
oh,
that's
hold
how I
on.
live my life.
You said I would have saw this article and then the internet cut, so I'll edit from right there. I would have saw this article and.
Yeah, so I would have saw this article, the just the headline of that article,
Yeah.
thought that it meant that a fetus was having a fetus. I would have the next time I would have had an opportunity to talk to Ansley, I would have told her, like, I saw an article today about a fetus impregnated with a fetus. And then we would have talked about that for hours, about how ridiculous that was and how, like, I wonder why that is. Like, how is something like that even possible? Is that because of all these vaccinations? It would have been
It's
like,
the vaccines.
it would have been a whole thing. We would have had a whole culture behind the fact that fetuses were having fetuses.
Fetuses were
And
getting
then
pregnant.
yeah, and then like 2 weeks later, one of us would have come across another article about this. She would come across it, actually read the article,
Yes.
and then have to explain to me what it actually meant. Like
Yes.
that's
Yes. I
that's how
mean,
we live.
that's a good guess though. That's a good like hypothesis of what fetus and fetu means.
I'm not mad at
uh
it. I still think I'm right.
you kind of are not wrong. This one is the first story is about a 36-year-old farmer from Nagpur, India. He was rushed to the hospital after a growth in his abdomen began to press against his diaphragm, making it difficult for him to breathe. And he was shocked when it was not a tumor. The doctor pulled out a dead parasitic twin. So for 36 years, he was walking around with his dead parasitic twin inside of his abdomen.
Wait,
Now,
but was it still okay? So it was dead, so it was no longer being parasitic, but it was parasitic.
it's parasitic in that it can still have like an active vein that goes through it. Some of them, like they're saying, they can still have the umbilical cord basically in there, inside, like getting a blood
But
supply from the
is it
host.
gaining power? Like, what is it doing in
And it's
there?
probably almost just like a tumor at that point. I guess it's just like a, growing in there. I only found out about it as I was researching other twin articles to talk to you about. I literally did not ever hear of it. I've heard of twins eating their twin, but that's not, sometimes the twin gets absorbed if there's like a dead twin, that the
Mm.
tissue will just get like absorbed. But this is when it actually still gets a blood flow. And there, I've heard of this teeth and bone sometimes being in there, because I actually had a cyst when I was younger that was in my ovary that grew, that they thought had teeth in it.
Mm.
Yeah, we weren't sure. And I've heard of that before. So usually both twins in a parasitic pregnancy dies, but the parasitic twin can remain in its host for years after delivery.
That's a
According
strange. Did you ever?
hmm,
I'm sorry. Did you ever consider the idea of having teeth in one of your ovaries, your pussy being eaten from the inside?
I mean, I thought it was just like turn into the teeth thing, but also that's hilarious now that I think about it, getting your pussy eaten from the inside.
I mean, what? I mean, I just, just out of curiosity. I mean, if you,
I did not ever think of it like that.
yeah,
I do like a little biting every so often. Maybe that's why.
yeah, or I mean, because I know, because if I'm not wrong, you also have some biological tendencies, right?
hmm
I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's the kind of thing that happens when you've been spending a large portion of your life trying to eat your own pussy from the inside.
Look, I've always wondered about it. Why? I think you just
It could
solved
be it. It could be it. You got a taste
it.
for
It's just
it.
early on. Yeah. So there was
That could
actually
also mean that you're searching for your pH balance in a woman. Like if you have never really tried to have a relationship with a woman, it's because you're seeking your own vagina.
well, actually, when I did have a relationship with a woman, it tasted exactly like mine.
There you go. I don't know how you
So
would know that, but there you go.
there's
I
ways.
don't I don't know what anything inside of me tastes like.
Well, women, if you're going down and then you kiss us, it's a pretty good approximation of what it tastes like.
I wonder if that's true. I've never kissed a
I've been
woman who
there.
recently went down on a woman. Yeah,
No,
but
no, no. Like
oh yeah,
if
yeah.
you go down on your wife and then you kiss her, she could taste herself.
So okay, so the only way that this can be confirmed,
Yes.
that you confirm this as an experiment, is wait, because here's the deal. Uh, let's just say hypothetically you've gone down on a woman.
Okay. You don't have to say hypothetically. You could say I have. It's been multiple times.
I don't talk like that. That's dirty talk. But if you is this a dirty talk podcast? I didn't know that. Are we allowed to say stuff like that?
You could say whatever you want. I don't edit shit out of here.
All right, so you've gone down on a woman, which I mean,
Yes,
like,
I've
you
had a
know,
girlfriend. I've had a girlfriend. I've since not,
yeah.
but
Okay. Yeah, this I just want God to know that you said that, not me. So
yeah.
uh
Listen,
so
nothing about women in that Bible.
uh there's a lot about women in that Bible. Have you
Yeah,
ever
I
heard of
know.
stones?
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. So yeah, so you but if you go down on a woman and you understand what her vagina tastes like, right? You can't also know what her vagina tastes like coming from her mouth. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well,
I, I'll put it
yeah,
to you this way.
true.
So I have been known to smoke marijuana. It's happened before,
Yes.
right? Now, I used to roll blunts, right? And
Yes.
I would roll them with Swisher Sweets,
Yes. Familiar.
right? I like the different flavors that they have.
They were good.
They were right.
Yeah.
So I stopped using spit years ago, and I would keep a spray bottle of water, and I would use
Yeah.
that to spritz and create the moisture.
hmm
Completely different taste, right? So the saliva, your own saliva changes
True.
the taste of
Yeah.
things, and the
Yes.
flavor profiles. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like again, this could be, and again, this is the most bro science shit that I'm saying, right?
Yes.
Because again, all of my information about the potential of saliva to change the taste of things
Yeah.
was my singular incident of knowing for a fact that if you roll Swisher Sweets with water, it tastes so much better, and you can actually taste what the flavor is really strong.
Yeah.
That's where my
Okay. Your
science comes from.
your taste bud science.
Yeah, everything
Um,
I know about enzymes
all
comes from
right.
that.
All right. Well, that's to be fair. Like, did you ever like if you weren't sure, like I like sometimes be like, oh, is my breath? You know what I mean? They see ever see like they say you can like lick your back of your hand and then smell it, but that doesn't really work because I think once the air hits it, it's not the same as what's coming out of your mouth. So
Exactly,
I
right?
kind of agree. But however, I've been in both positions. Yeah, down and up. I don't know. And there's a similar taste to the one person that was like my girlfriend versus like some women I would just had hooked up with. And they had a different, just like there's different cum tastes for guys. Some are
I wouldn't
bleachy.
know.
You wouldn't know. It's fine. This is science I've made up based on my personal experience. Some people's more bleachy and some's just like salty. And
It
the
seems
I
like the bleachy one is probably a problem.
it's kind of not good.
Yeah. What
It's
kind
not
of
great.
people were they? Like what kind of person is
Like
attached to bleachy cum?
metal band dudes.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Okay. I
Okay.
said whatever you said was probably just so funny. All I heard was like lab coats, and I said, "Damn it, the ghost of my ex boyfriend was in here fucking the Wi-Fi up because I'm stuck in shit."
Oh no. Yeah. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna put our lab coats on right
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
and we're gonna figure out why people who are into metal and metal bands have bleachy cum. Like what is the common thing that maybe they're eating, they're ingesting? Is it are they all like doing a certain drug?
Oh, I'm gonna do like a swish cut where we have our lab coats on and we're in a science lab. And then I'm gonna say it's because they're touching the metal strings on the guitars all the time because it's kind of like the way you're like when you put like touch guitar strings and play with an electric instrument, it smells weird. Kind of like
Okay. Okay, so you think they're
they're like
changing their alkalinity through
they're
absorbing.
absorbing whatever's in there, lead, cadmium. I don't know what the
Yeah,
guitar strings are made
they're
of.
like they're like deionizing or something, or they're
Yeah,
ion. Yeah,
they're doing something. They're absorbed.
yeah.
Your fingers are porous.
Okay,
You're rubbing them on there, creating friction and heat.
mm.
Shredding.
They could be magnetizing their cum.
It could be. Or it could just be putting like deposits of whatever nickel, cadmium. I don't know what the fuck guitar strings are made of, but
Yeah, we should observe shredding in a like under a black light and see.
oh,
Like we need to see
spray
what
luminol
energy
on
is being
there.
created from shredding, right? It probably is creating like a little electricity. You could probably
Yeah.
see light
A little
coming off of
kinetic
it.
like bubble, like a little like smoke or something coming off of their fingers almost if you looked under the right like microscope or black light or something.
There's got like those shrimp that like like create that little sonic boom.
Yes, to like
Yeah,
move to propel themselves. Like
yeah,
or like
yeah.
that experiments where they have like the magnetized sand on like a circular disc thing. Have you seen it? And then it like can
Oh, I
form
love.
shapes with like sounds, certain music played at it. It'll make like the
Yeah, that's not magnetized.
oh, it's not. It's just the sound
No,
waves.
no. So you can do that with not only can you do that with sand, you can do that with flour. You can put flour
Oh,
on a
okay.
sheet like that and it'll
Yeah.
still create. And they do that with so you know what a precipitate is?
No.
Right. So it's like not quite liquid, not quite solid, like anything
Okay.
that's like that. And they get like glue, like when you make
Sure.
glue at home. But
Okay.
it's like if they make it really thin, they can put that on a sheet on a speaker like that, and it also creates the
Does the
shapes matching the frequencies. Yeah, I
yeah.
went down quite a rabbit hole on that one time.
That's cool. Those things are pretty
Yeah,
cool. I never went, I just kind of have seen some of those but that's where I'm thinking like the same, energy
yeah,
creating.
yeah. They're playing at a certain amount of hertz that they're. Yeah, I could completely see that.
Right? I don't know. Sounds like good made up science if I ever heard
Yeah, but it's
it.
terrible for cum, from what I understand. It's not good.
I mean, they should get some kind of like those little finger condoms like people wear at offices to do like sorting paper. Do you know what I'm talking about? But
Yeah, I
then
know exactly what you're talking about.
some kind of thing that so it's not going right through their fingertips all the time. Because then if they touch your
Yeah,
dick, then if you're touching your dick with that same hand, I don't
yeah, but they can't live through the shred. You know what I mean?
know.
The shred don't feel the same when you put the condoms on.
It's true. I mean, it
Everyone
can't.
knows that.
It's not possible. I get it. No one likes it.
Yeah,
None of us like it. It dulls it down.
it doesn't feel real.
The vibrations aren't there.
I mean, don't you also feel less connected when it's
um so let's see. We only have a few minutes left here in this first part. I want to bring up
Mhm.
some crazy twin facts actually
Oh,
that I
let's do
found.
it.
Yeah, let me do a little back my share screen again here.
I love crazy twin facts, man. It's like, yeah, having identical twins is bizarre.
It's and some of these facts that blew my mind, as this article mentions. You don't need to be a multiple to appreciate this. Let's see here. Um,
Well, I tell you what, those little fucking creepy twins definitely think they appreciate twin shit more.
I know, yeah, I
Yeah.
guarantee. I didn't know this. Dogs can tell the difference between identical twins. Like they can sniff them out. Makes sense, but so dogs, because dogs see with their nose, they don't see like the way we see.
Yeah, but they also see visually, they see very different than us too because they're predators. They're a different type of predator than we are.
Yeah.
You know, so their ability revolves around distinguishing which animal is easier prey.
Mm.
Right? That's not how humans hunted. We hunted in a pack way, or we threw spears into a herd. We didn't hunt in a way where we had to distinguish which one was the best one to go after in a group. Animals do that. So and again, this is my bro, this is all bro science.
Sure.
I've not read anything to confirm anything that I'm saying right now. This
Yes.
is all stuff that I think that like I put together from watching nature shows,
Okay.
and I have twins, right? So yeah, I think they can also like visually spot the difference. I think predatory animals see differences in humans a lot more visibly than we do.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess they were doing a study in 2011. German Shepherd police dogs were presented with the scents of identical twins, and they were able to find the exact matches among jars that contained scents from other people that were meant to distract them.
Oh, well, that's not even science. That doesn't even mean anything. All they're saying is like, did you know that identical twins smell different inside?
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
I
dude,
know.
of
It's like,
course. Like, why would
yeah.
you expect for identical twins to smell like you think they're shit in the same shits? Like what do you
I guess some people might think that like their DNA is exactly the same, so their smell would then be the same. I wouldn't necessarily assume that, but someone writing this
who
article,
conduct did I conduct this experiment? Like who did this?
I don't know the PLOS one. I never heard of that, what that is, but
Yeah, no, this is insane.
in
This
case
isn't
you,
real.
all
Yeah, go ahead.
right, twins are more likely to be left-handed. It's the second time I've seen that fact.
Okay.
Uh,
Neither of my twins are left-handed.
I was going to ask. I was
I'm
going to
left-handed.
ask. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It just says that a 2009 study in the Neuropsychologica Journey, whatever journal, finished subjects between 18 and 69 left-handedness was more common in twins than in
Mm.
triplets and single-born. So,
I will say this: my mom is also a twin, and she is also left-handed.
okay. All right. So there is some kind of common denominator there with the DNA structure. Um, there is such a thing as semi-identical twins. We all know identical, which are
No,
monozygotic.
there is not. No, there is not.
Actually, it's a
Those
funny. You're gonna
semi
laugh at this.
semi-identical twins are fraternal twins that are lying to you about being identical
No,
twins.
it's they kind of did the science here because they said there could be it was basically, I think once it gets down to it, it's, let's see here. Um two sperm fertilizing a single egg and then the egg splits instead of the egg splitting and then being fertilized, I think. Right? Because there's two types everyone knows: identical, which are monozygotic, and fraternal, which are dizygotic. Those names refer to the number of zygotes involved. For identical twins, a single egg is split in two halves. For fraternal twins, two eggs are fertilized. But what about sesquizygotic? Uh,
Okay.
that is
Yeah.
the
What
term.
about what the fuck
Yeah.
about
So
sesquizygotic?
they're saying monozygotic share 100% of genomes, dizygotic 50%, and sesquizygotic some percentage in the middle. Though rare, these sesquizygotic twins are the result of two sperm fertilizing a single egg and then the egg splits. So they have 100% match of their mother's genes and some odd percentage match of their father's. It's like fraternal identical twins.
No, it's like fraternal twins.
I know. I don't know. It says the New England Journal of Medicine says this.
But
It
yeah,
was
I
like,
also listen. I also fuck with this type of science.
yeah, yeah.
They're making this shit up. I
They're
love
making it
this.
up. They're making one time maybe it happened. All right, some identical twins are mirror twins. Like they said, some people will get like if one has the freckle on their right cheek, the other one has it on their left cheek,
Hmm.
or things like that. Or one might be left-handed and one's right.
Yeah, I've seen that.
One may have
My, by the way, my mom is a fraternal. She has a brother, a twin brother.
Oh, okay, all right. Um, there isn't any deep science to explain the phenomenon, but there's so many cases it's hard to ignore. Um, they're just saying like one of these studies suggests that maybe it's just the way it's split, since it's just basically like that. It's just like
Mm.
whatever's on the right side touches the left side, and they don't know. They don't have enough science to really be in the womb while twins are in there. Some people don't even know until when did Ansley know? Like right away, or was it like a little further along?
It was like the first ultrasound where they tell you what you're having, or
Yeah,
no,
because
no, no.
there's
It was no. That's not even true. It was
okay.
I think it was the first ultrasound.
Okay. That's when it's
Yeah.
supposed to be, but sometimes some people it's like it can be later because they just don't see it or whatever.
Yeah,
Africa
well, actually, so what a funny story about that. Well, I mean, may not be funny. It's like it's cute in our family lore. This is a
Sure.
cute story, right?
Yes.
So when we went to that ultrasound, Finn, he was not even 3 yet, but he was there with us,
Mhm.
right? Because we wanted to be sure to include him in everything about the pregnancy, so the baby, nothing about a new baby coming was going to be a surprise. So the lady's doing the ultrasound, and I'm like joking around with Ansley, joking around with Finn. I'm like, making everybody laugh and everything. And all of a sudden, Finn goes, "Are there 2 in there?" And I'm like, Finn, of course there's not 2 in there. That's 1. See, which, because we've been through this process before. And I'm like, and I go, Daddy's basically a doctor by this point. So what you're seeing right here, right? And I just start making, just having a good time. And the nurse goes, actually, there's 2 in there. She goes, you're having twins. And then she goes, actually, you're having identical twins. And I was like, the creepy ones. Let's go. Let's go.
The scary people.
So yeah. Yeah, but that nurse got a good chuckle about that.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
It was because like everybody's probably always like, oh, it's such a miracle.
Oh,
It's
it's
like,
oh
no.
my God.
Yeah,
It's
it's like
like
identical twins are for sure the
fucking
creepy ones.
anomaly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 5, Africa has the highest rate of twins. I don't know.
Mm. Well, they had the highest rate of everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. And Neil deGrasse Tyson was telling Joe Rogan one time that because of Africa has so much ethnic diversity, despite the fact that everybody has black skin. All right, well, not every. Some people have different brown, and now they have people in South Africa that are white, but
Yeah.
they came to Africa, but that's neither here nor there. But they have so much. I don't want to say genome diversity because I'm making that up, but it was like so much like ethnic diversity
Yeah.
that they will have. Africa will have the highest rate of everything. They'll have everything. Like you'll find the person with the highest IQ in Africa.
Yeah.
You'll find the person with the lowest IQ ever in Africa. Like you'll find, I guess like the most amount of twins in Africa, and technically you'll find a place that has the least amount of twins in Africa. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like all of it's should be in Africa.
Yeah. It makes sense, especially this last sentence here. It says in the more recent study, the title of most twins in Africa goes to a small country called the Republic of Benin, which sees 27.9 twins per 1,000 births.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The average is 18 per 1,000.
Yeah.
And the highest rate was 45 to 50 for every 1,000. So this
Yeah.
one's not really science. This is like just kind of dumb. I feel like twins who grow up apart are still likely to have similar personalities, interests, and attitudes. Well, I'm like that with my sister that I didn't grow up with. So I don't think that's twin specific. Do you?
Yes and no. So here's what I will say. And before having twins and then like learning things about twins, I would have said no.
Yeah.
Right. But by the way, that country is either pronounced Benin or Benign.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Neither here nor there, but you know, as a former
All right.
geography VB
I
champion,
butcher a lot of
I
things.
yeah, I felt morally obligated
Okay.
from my position as
Good
a
eye.
geography B champion to
Okay.
have to tell you that.
Okay.
Um, seventh grade, Mr. Allen's class. Let's go. Uh, so I've heard of adoption stories
Okay.
where identical twins get adopted and go very different
Separate.
directions,
Yeah.
like from birth.
Sure.
So they're not even spending enough time to even have like to start a base of their personality developing together.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and that's just again, I don't know how true that is. I don't know what
I
develops with.
mean, there's only 13 personality types, they say. Oh,
Mhm.
and then people create their own individualities from there. So we all are born, I think, into the way our personality is going to develop, but like it becomes, like spread apart nature versus nurture stuff.
Yeah. And so the story that I heard about, or like I was reading an article and it had multiple stories to confirm this, but the one that I memorized the most is because one of the twins was raised in a European country, I want to say England, and the other one was raised in America. Uh, they got they found out they were adopted later on in life. By the way, about uh, around the same time in life, they both start seeking out their identical twin. Like if they knew they were adopted, they found out that they had an identical twin, and they both started seeking out to find their identical twin around the same time.
I had actually heard a story about what you were kind of talking about with the twins separated at birth and being raised, and then so like you said they started like feeling that gut feeling of like, oh, I'm 36
Mhm.
years old or whatever. Like where's my twin? I know I have a twin. They knew, did they know or
Yeah, I think they both knew. Both of their
okay,
adoptive families
told
told
them.
them, or maybe they both were told and one found out. I don't remember exactly how that
Okay.
part went,
Yeah.
but they found each other. And when they showed up to meet each other, they were dressed exactly the same.
Oh.
They had the same haircut. They had the same like BMI, like they were the same
Like
amount of like just a little overweight. You know what I mean? They were like,
yeah.
they had the same exact body type. They
Okay.
loved the same things. Their favorite food was the same. Like it was like everything
Was
was so vastly similar. Now here's the crazy part about how this all works out.
yeah.
Twins, identical twins that are separated, right,
Hmm.
are more likely to share the same personality traits
Okay.
than identical twins that are raised together, right?
Oh yeah.
And which makes sense because the way siblingry, the way
Mm-hmm.
siblinging happens
Mm-hmm.
is if a person has one personality type and they're really strong about it, you don't have room to fit in that personality type, so you go find something else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's typically how identical twins that grow up with each other are.
Okay.
So like again, identical twins that grow up separate from each other and find each
Mm-hmm.
other later are more likely to have the same personality type than identical twins that grow up together in the same house.
It makes up sense and it backs up my made up theory about what I kind of said a few minutes ago with that I think we're kind of born in a personality type and then we become individuals, nature
Mhm.
versus nurture a bit. And if they're separate, I feel like they're cookie cutter origin personalities. So you know what I mean? Like where the base of your personality starts when you're a kid. However, whenever you're 4 or 5, when you start developing language and understanding the world around you and stuff. But I feel like that's born into you somewhere and you're coded in your DNA. And
Absolutely. I mean, there's got to be something to that because these ladies that I was telling you about, one was in America, one was in England.
yeah.
They grew up in vastly different cultures.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's got to be something to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally believe it. Based on just some things I've been reading, jog my memory about something that was like with the Kundalini, um, the way the energy rises and creates like a fire in us that
Mhm.
as they say, some people say fire sign. Well, astrology is made up, but like fire sign, I feel like it could be like we're born of fire or we're born of the way our personalities come out of us, you know.
Sure. I mean, I can't. I'm not in a position to dispute anything.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
all right. So, nature sometimes trumps nurture. In a landmark 1990 study published in the journal Science, researchers studied more than 100 sets of twins who grew up apart. They showed that what you're saying, even though they weren't raised together, they still shared many personality traits. This is confirming everything you're saying, temperaments, and
Hmm.
personal and professional interests. The researchers concluded that the monozygotic twins reared apart are about as similar as the ones reared together. It doesn't say more or less, but what you're saying
Well, no,
makes, yeah,
I've actually what I was looking at was actually an actual study conducted of these people,
sure.
and like that, it was that conclusion was highlighted in
Yeah.
the paper that I
I
read.
feel like I saw something like that, like a headline like
Yeah,
that I didn't read, but totally makes sense. And it backs up what I say. So I'm gonna agree with you. Twins socialize in the womb. Well, that makes sense. I think babies can hear us from outside. So of course they're in there with like get your knee off my forehead or whatever. I don't know.
yeah,
Uh
It's funny watching. So when my twins, like they have separate beds, but before they have bunk beds now, but they used to have like a day bed, and that doesn't even matter actually because like they'll still like nap together on the couch or they'll both fall asleep in a similar
sure.
location and the level of comfort that they seem to have, like sleeping like face
Just
on
like
face with each
yeah.
other, or
Yeah.
like whatever, like any
Leg on
amount of
head. Yeah,
on
like
it,
yeah.
it doesn't matter if,
Yeah.
but like, and I shit you not, we also have an older son. If he even slightly touches one of them when they are asleep, they're like, "Get off me! You're always on me." It's insane. But like they could be like one head down on the like when they fall asleep in the car, like one what like had their head down first, and the other one will fall asleep, and her head will be on top of her head, like the weight of her head is on top of her face, and they'll sleep like that for hours. And if my son's leg like slides over and
Braces.
brushes one of their legs, like they wake up and they're like, "Get off me!" It's the craziest thing.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
um, I thought back of what I was gonna say about with the personality thing when you said when they're reared apart, their personality, they showed up and were wearing the same outfit and everything, the
Hmm.
two adult twins. How I feel like the what you said about the way sibling happens and sibling rivalry and that type of stuff where you create your own. I feel like if the ones raised together probably have a tendency to create their own, want to almost be their own, even though they're so together and so stuck, they like sometimes, but the ones apart have no reason to do that. So they just
Yeah.
form this like perfectly coded copy of each other. And
Yeah.
I just think that's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So yeah, all right. So that's corny. They talk to each other in there. We get it. And they speak their own language. I was gonna ask, do your kids have their own language at all?
So I've been observing this, right?
Hmm.
So there's two cultural things that are occurring. Oh,
Okay.
well, there is a cultural aspect to this, and that there's also truth to this,
Okay.
right? So when they say twins have their own language, I think a lot of that comes from people telling twins that they have their own language, and then they, I don't want to say feel pressure, but there's an allowance is created for them to now create their own verbal language with each other,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
However, I think as far as like body language is concerned, and when we're talking about like the other so we start getting into like the science of all the other different ways that we communicate with each other. And yeah, we do communicate with each other through the physical body. There's body language that we communicate with each other with, but there's also like a type of energy that we communicate with, where
Hmm.
you can tell when somebody is like upset or frustrated or confused in a conversation, in a one-on-one conversation, whether they're displaying it through their body language or not. You can pick it
Hmm.
up, you can feel it.
Hmm.
So I feel like identical twins are way more in tune with one another on all of those other aspects of communication, that they are able to understand each other in a way that you know we don't find ways to understand other people, like, and it's like, for better or worse, you know like us non-identical twin people.
Singles, singles.
Yeah, we may never know what it, and even fraternal twins, by the way,
Sure.
like we may never get to
Yeah.
experience the connection that identical twins have with each other.
True.
You know, it's just like it just might not be possible. It might not be physio because it's from the womb.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
from the it's from the primordial
Yeah.
state of
No.
life
Yeah.
on, you know,
True.
and there may not be a way to duplicate that.
I think you might be right, unless you believe in like a thing called soul twins, which are people that like, because women's wombs are theoretically the host to souls coming here. If you believe we have souls, do you believe we have souls?
Are you implying that uh like she can be pregnant with a baby and like nine other souls?
Well, like they say, you don't gain full consciousness until you're like 5. Then when you start having language and stuff, when you're a baby, you don't always remember everything. Not many people remember things before 5. There's some isolated psychos that say they do. But do you remember being an infant?
So I remember being an infant. Like I
But
don't know, but
no, most
I
people don't,
feel
and that's totally normal.
well
You're on like the
I
normal
feel like I
side.
have that's I'm about to change that up in a
Yeah.
second. I do feel like I have memories that can be associated with uh possible infancy from the perspective that those memories
Yes.
occur.
That I
You
agree
know,
with. That I agree with. But like you don't, it's not like when you're maybe 5 or 6 and you can remember, I can remember things from when I'm 5 and 6 go doing crack. But before that, 4-ish maybe, because I could read when I was like 4 or 5.
yeah.
But,
Well, I remember when my
preschool, I
dad
get,
left.
I
He
remember when
was
my
I
dad
was
left.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was 3.
Okay. So that's a
And
traumatic event. So that definitely sticks out.
but I also remember when he and I built a bike together in the house that I lived in.
Okay.
Well, I mean, technically, I wasn't helping because I was younger. So that was the birthday before he left. So that was 2.
Yeah.
You know,
So
so
so language, so like at 2 you're babbling, you're doing words, but like infancy in the crib, that first year, even the first, let's say 90 days when you come out of that thing,
mhm.
you're in there cooking and you're kind of a person in there at some point. Now, some souls are more powerful than others and can come in, I think, whenever they want, but like there's got to be a transmission of soul energy somewhere. So if it's not happening in the womb, it's got to happen outside then. There's only 2 options. And I've heard theories both ways that sometimes like souls will come and occupy like little kids. The theories, it's all made up theories, but you got to imagine it's something somewhere. Somehow the soul alights the physical body that when we die, I believe the soul is separate and just goes out either into space and floats or whatever. I haven't figured that part out yet. I have a lot of theories, but you can't, the scientific law of conservation of energy is that you cannot destroy it once it's created. And we're powered by an energy, by an electricity. That's the reason we can get shocked and conduct a current, you know? So that
Mhm.
energy when we die, because I've read near death experience books, things like that. I think I talked about it on here before, maybe, but there's, so with that being said, the
Wait,
souls,
so what
uh,
is a soul? When you say so to you,
so
what is a soul?
it's your energy that alights you, that makes you, have just even simple electricity. Just like otherwise, how does your brain have electricity to make your nerves function, and then your energy, like you're saying, because it's coming back around, it's the energy that you're talking about with twins, where they've
Mhm.
got, and so they probably have twin souls. You know what I mean? That's probably a good human example of like souls that were there together and got formed together in the womb and then split in the 3D world when you come out here. Because,
Okay.
it's like, so there's one of the twin articles, I don't know if it's this one or not, there's an incidence of like basically the baby mom just had sex with 2 different guys and she had 2 eggs drop in 1 month, like within a week or 2 of each other, and got pregnant by both guys. So that's,
Baller.
I know, right?
Like, it's like you are the father, and also you
And
are the
you
father.
are, yeah, you're not, neither of you are getting out of this right now. I'm getting, but yeah, so that's then 2 souls from those 2, like, because I don't, there's so much unknown, and
Well,
where,
yeah.
yeah,
So okay, so is it possible
yeah,
that a soul is created at conception?
I guess That's to me,
right?
yes. To me, yes. It happens in the womb. As soon as that egg and that the sperm meet an electrical, like someone shredding on the fucking guitar, on the
Yeah,
triangle guitar, the V guitar. It's like an electrical reaction. When that happens, there's little blue lightning around it, and like whatever, it's splitting as one molecule in there is splitting into two. It's creating an electric reaction, and the electricity is sparking, and then it clicks into
yeah,
four, and then it clicks into eight, and then it clicks into 12, and whatever. It starts all this splitting that it does in there. It's constantly creating little chemical reactions in there. So yes, I believe that's where maybe the people that say life begins at birth. Sure, your soul's in there at birth then, or at
yeah.
conception. Life begins at conception, and I don't pay attention
I
to
think that's how I'm
rhetoric.
going to explain how it works to my kids. I'm going to say a sperm hits that egg, and depending on how hard that sperm is shredding, like not every sperm can. Some sperm can't. Not all the sperm can make it. Only one can
only
make it.
only one could shred the hardest and the
There's
fastest.
only one. There's only one Jimi Hendrix.
True.
When that sperm create what Hendrix is into the egg, and then that's how. Yeah, I got that's word.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'm here to help. I'm here to explore
Yeah.
people's mindsets. Um I feel like Jimmy had some bleachy cum probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So you're noticing energetic language more, which I feel like is with a twin with a soul connections in your life, your high level soul family that you come, that your energy attracts to. Your
Mhm.
energy, is gonna you're gonna feel that. They're gonna feel that in some way that maybe you're right. None of us regular single people who don't find a soul twin or whatever that's not born of our same mother, because it can I in theory I think the soul can go anywhere it wants if it's the same two souls that travel in like a pack, and they're think of them as little like stars out in the galaxy,
Yeah.
almost whatever gas clouds. They both
But
go into different mothers. It's soul twin.
yeah, and don't make no mistake. I think proximity has a lot to do with this as well too.
Sure.
Because like Ansley and I, we've been together for 23 years.
Yeah.
And one of the craziest things that it's just always really funny to me, like we don't even have to be looking at each other. I could be like facing a completely different direction.
Hmm.
She could be facing a completely different direction at the same time. And without turning or saying any words to her, I can tell her to look at what I'm looking at.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know,
Sure.
and she'll turn and be like, "What the fuck is he telling me to look?" You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you get it. Yeah,
yeah,
you
it's
get
like,
that's part quantum entanglement a little bit when just being around each other and absorbing each other's energy all the time and being on that same vibration. Or you could be soul
mhm.
twins. Could be soul twins. We're going to talk
Yeah,
about your
yeah, yeah,
story in a
yeah.
little bit. Your story got me going, thinking a lot. So we're gonna bring your story. We're almost done with this article. This was interesting. I saw the twinning effect was that a lower level of language performance sometimes happened with twins because they were so focused on building their own language that nobody could understand. I had two sets of twins in my class when we were younger, and the ones would only talk. They would talk to each other in their little like language. They like
Yeah,
wouldn't talk to anybody else. So they're saying it sometimes can, and it makes sense. They like, I don't know, weren't keeping up because
yeah.
they're whatever.
Well,
Um,
yeah, the school that my kids go to, they don't allow twins to be in the same classes together
oh, interesting.
because
I
yeah,
guess
because it hurts their development.
sure, it makes sense. This is a fun fact: annual twins only gathering in Twinsburg, Ohio, every summer since 1976. Can you imagine how creepy that is?
Hmm.
Take acid and go there and like eat shrooms, go and hang
Yeah,
with all these random twins, all the little kid ones.
yeah. Ansley and I watched the documentary on that,
Okay.
and
Yep.
it's creepy.
I bet.
It's pretty
All right.
creepy.
Here's a good one for Ansley. Mothers of twins live longer.
Oh, there you go.
There was two different studies I saw on that. Taller women are more likely to have twins. That tracks.
Yeah, Ansley's not short, but
She's not short. She's
yeah,
medium
my
tall.
grandma was a little bit of a taller lady too.
Yeah. Anything over like 5'5" is tall for a lady, I think. And they said it kind of there too. Eating dairy may boost the possibility of twins if anybody wants to have more than one kid.
Okay.
And
Wait, who has to eat the dairy?
the mom, I guess. Because they say your diet affects whatever. They say you can, like, if you drink coffee at the beginning, you're more likely to have a boy or something. I don't know. Weird shit.
Yeah,
Fraternal twins come from the mother's genes. A father's genes don't play part in producing fraternal twins. Actually, I was watching something about DNA coding recently, and the Y chromosome is uh, such a strong just replicator of DNA that
Hmm.
it's just like kind of that's all it does, and that there's these studies on frogs that where the Y was like phased out, and so then they had a XX female, like just all female, reproduce asexually.
Yeah.
But because I didn't know that the X and the Y aren't different, it's just the way science labels them.
Wait,
It's
say that again?
it's like the X and the Y chromosome are not really different. It's just the way science labels them.
Well,
And
no, no, no. They're different.
but the
They're
Y, but the Y is more just like it just gives more testosterone at the right time, and then it can create like it's good at coding, but it can females can do it on like XX, and these frogs are saying can genetically mutate, I think, and become its own thing. But I always thought they were
well,
separate. It's like
yeah,
the
but
same, but
those frogs are unique.
sure.
It's not like that doesn't exist in so many cases in nature that that is like I think what's more relevant in that those frogs
Mhm.
is what allows them to do that.
Yeah,
Like
that's
them
yeah.
being able to do that isn't proof that the X and the Y chromosomes or the X is the same as the Y. What it proves is that they have something unique that allows them to change on a DNA level their X and Y chromosomes. Like that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. DNA is crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. So let's see here. Twin birth rates in the US were on the rise for 30 years, but started dropping in the last 5. Maybe less people are doing IVF, I bet, is probably the reason. Yeah, changes in the fertility enhancements. Stanford University has its own twin registry. Great. These two look scary.
Yeah, I don't
Uh
trust those guys.
yeah,
Those
I
are
don't trust
like
them.
twins are always like
Mm-mm.
a couple of decisions away from being evil villains.
Exactly. These two look right up that alley. Our identical twins are responsible for tons of scientific advancements. Identical twins have participated in studies that test all these conditions, are saying that, I guess that makes sense. I don't
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, we should be studying those freaks.
I know, look at these two. One identical twin was sent to space for a year for the sake of science. I bet they were trying to figure out the aging. Yeah, while they wanted to understand the effects of long term space travel on the human body. That's
What did
weird.
they find out?
Let's see here. Scott and Mark Kelly, who had both already been to space, were part of a study during which Scott lived on the space station while Mark lived on Earth. The results published in the journal Science found that Scott had some significant changes to his body after spending nearly a year in space, some of which extended for months after his return. I guess we'll have to check out
Was
that
he
journal.
filled up with cum?
I mean, if this is a current picture, the one looks older. It
Yeah.
looks older. This one looks visibly older, right?
Can you jerk off in space? Like I'm very
Ooh, I
curious.
always
Is like
wonder about that.
what was he doing to? Because like that I think that puts years on you if you can't come for a year.
Ooh, yeah. If you can't, yeah, for men, definitely, because there's like a scientific reason to like expel, isn't
Do
there?
you understand what I'm saying? Because if we're doing this for science, I need to know all the fucking parameters.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
Like,
check out
was
this
he
journal
was he
article.
coming regularly? That's
Yeah, well, that's
important.
important data. I wonder if these scientists know the answer, but that's the end of that.
Because who aged more?
Yeah, the one looked Scott, Mark. I don't know. One of them say they had
Yeah,
significant changes to his body. I don't
was
know.
the one in space? I mean, they
The
both
one
had
in
significant
space,
changes to their
yeah,
body.
but the
So
one
the
in
one in
space had more, whatever,
yeah,
unless some weird effects. I don't know. They don't know. I feel like they don't know enough about it yet. And they're just testing it on humans. They're just using these twins like guinea pigs.
yeah. Human. We need to somehow make human experiments. Okay.
I think they're trying. I think NASA's the first to do it. They're the shadiest of the government bodies, so they're willing to do anything.
Yeah, they're pretty shady. I mean, I also think big pharma's pretty shady,
Oh
but
yeah, well, actually they're like kind of open, just killers. They're just like, hey, we'll murder you, but you need us. Your back hurts.
yeah. Well, that's what we know about. Like we know
Yeah.
about the stuff that murders us. We don't know about the stuff that's like, like making it so that in like 4 generations our kids are gonna grow like tails and shit.
Well, yeah, it's like between the whatever they say, petroleum is the number one reason that most prescription drugs are toxic, because a lot of them are formed with petroleum based stuff to like hold the powder together. It's like the
Mhm.
coats, and you're not supposed to ingest petroleum at all.
Heard that.
And so between that, microplastics, Wi-Fi, I don't know, our kids are gonna have tails anyway.
Yeah. Or dude,
For
maybe that guy up in
generations.
space was doing better than the guy down on
Maybe the
Earth.
significant growth was his dick. Maybe he just got
Yeah.
huge. He's jerking off.
Because he's on the other side of the Wi-Fi. Like the Wi-Fi is going down to
It's all
Earth. It's like
shooting
not,
that way.
yeah.
Yeah. All the cell phones are all pointing at us. So he was
Man.
absent from it. So maybe, yeah, maybe he got like more jacked, healthier. His face got like he aged. You still age in space because of the time or whatever. But all
Yeah,
right,
it's space time. We all know that.
FaceTime, you know. So yeah, you have one of the better stories someone has brought to me. I enjoy your premise, your story that you emailed me a while ago about how what you were. Wait, would you get knocked out? You're in a coma. What's your thing again? You had a dream about your
Oh
future.
yeah. Yeah, no, I was yeah, so I was it's hard to say when you've been concussed multiple times, it's not easy to remember which instances different types of memories come to you from those different incidents, basically. You
Okay.
know, so I was hit by a car and I was in a coma for a little while. So I feel like most of the visions, the unconscious visions that I can recall, I feel like most of those I attribute to that,
Okay. Now you were hit
right?
you were hit bodily. You were hit by a car. You were hit in a
Yeah,
car
no,
accident.
I wasn't
Like someone's
emotionally hit by a car. Yeah, I
no,
was I was
but like
struck.
you were just standing. You were pedestrian, and they tapped you like that, or you were in a car and got hurt.
Yeah, it was no, I was a pedestrian and it was a
Okay.
little more than a tap.
No, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Trying to
They
keep it light.
didn't, yeah, they didn't bend my fender. It was a
No.
little,
Okay.
yeah, they didn't wrinkle my Jordashes.
You
It
could
was like a
still you
little,
could still get in a coma from being in a car and getting her head hit. But I never heard this story, so I just want to be. I like to get all the details as I'm going through this.
yeah,
As
no,
yeah.
I was hit. I was
Okay,
hit
you
on
were
in the
pinged.
street.
You were fucking
Yeah,
10 points for somebody that day.
yeah, I was launched. I was launched. He might have got
Jesus.
extra points for that. Because it was like he put some like from like people describe it. It was like a wonder to behold that like watching a human be propelled the
Okay.
way that I was launched. And
I've already got theories forming in my head about why you are the way you are now as an adult, where you can jump fucking 19 feet in the air and do some of the shit I've seen you do physically.
I mean, I not gonna lie to you, I feel like I was on more of a path to athleticism before getting hit by the car. Not gonna
I
lie
don't
to
know.
you,
I don't.
you know. But I did while getting hit by the car, from all accounts, from every witness that saw it, I did set a distance record. So I'm always
Always
winning.
winning. Always
Yeah,
getting
it's
the dub.
yeah. I mean, put them in the books, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, so I was out. I was out for multiple days in a hospital bed. Uh, you know, so yeah, I was in a little coma, a little tiny coma,
And you were how old?
and it was a summer between fourth and fifth grade.
Okay. All right.
So what Finn was in
8,
fifth
I
grade and
think.
he's
Yeah.
10. So like
Yeah.
yeah, nine.
Yeah. So maybe
I
like
think I
8,
was
9.
like nine-ish, right?
Yeah.
And or yeah, let's say 8, 9,
Yeah.
right? 8/9.
Sure.
And yeah, I just like these ridiculous visions, man. And it was like it felt more powerful than a dream. And I also remembered a lot of it when I woke up, but I just didn't have a context to explain anything that I witnessed. You know, we weren't a super spiritual family in the sense that like I didn't know anything about any new age. I mean, I was we lived in the hood. I was 9, you know.
Yeah.
It's like my mom went like partied every weekend. She
Sure.
had my
Yeah.
sister at 15 years old. She had me at 20, and she never stopped partying.
Mm.
So it's not
I
like
mean, it's chill life.
yeah, I mean, it's actually pretty chaotic and dangerous at times, but it's very unstable and chaotic.
For your
But
children, for you, it's chill. It's
yeah.
chill as fuck. It's party
No,
as
yeah,
fuck.
yeah. For me, I was one of the children.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was but yeah, as an adult, I can look back on the way that my mom lived her life at that point. I'm like, yeah, she was having a great fucking
She's
time.
killing it. She's fucking.
Yeah. She had such a great time. She had to take a knee. she had to go to rehab for a little while, like off of party drugs, you know?
Yeah.
Like she was having a good old time.
Okay.
Uh yeah.
Not knocking
Yeah.
it, no judgment. Anyway.
I mean, I used to judge it harshly when I
Yeah,
was a
I did.
kid,
Me too.
you know, because it was like, dude, it was like we're getting evicted every 8 months. Like I literally never started like this is from including being hit by the car, but from at least second grade until I moved with my grandma in I think sixth. I moved my grandma in sixth grade.
Okay.
So from second grade to sixth grade, I never started a school year in the same house that I ended the last school year in. Like we got to literally every 8 months.
It's pretty
Every eight
brutal.
months we were being evicted, and then so yeah, it was like
Yeah.
you know I say all that to say this, right? We weren't spiritual people,
Sure. Sure. I get
right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't until like maybe I was 15 I heard the first spiritual thing I ever heard, but go ahead.
Okay. So and neither were and this is the crazy thing. So my mom, in a very militant fashion, forced me to read shit while claiming to me that I was interested in it. So I wasn't interested in like science. My mom told me I was interested in science and that I loved science. And
Mhm.
she made me read science shit. She even got like, she would get like either get subscriptions or steal subscriptions, you know, to like science magazines and shit.
Okay.
But she didn't like if I ever try to talk to her about anything, oh that's too deep. Get the fuck out of here with that. You know, it
Yeah.
was like did you, you know, so you know, she dropped out of school in like 10th grade. So I had no context for anything that I was witnessing. And it was really hard to speak to anybody about it because, like, again, if I would try to speak to my mom about something, she'd be like, "Don't you be telling people that." You know, like she was way more concerned with me appearing crazy
Mm.
to anybody than she was about trying to figure out what I was dealing with.
Meanwhile, it's just like you looking crazy is worse than her partying.
Yeah, but we definitely were the crazy looking family.
I get it. We have a pretty crazy family, so I get
Yeah, like
it.
my mom was like fighting people in the streets constantly. And she was like, and she didn't want me telling people about,
Yeah,
you know, a possible experience that I had all in a coma,
yeah, like a
you
weird
know?
dream-like state. Like, oh, okay, that's actually kind of
Yeah,
interesting. You don't hear a lot of people that say. I don't know a lot of people that have been in comas. I know one, but she was a medically induced one, so she doesn't remember much of
yeah,
anything, just voices around her and stuff. But
yeah. But it's okay for her to fight the neighbors because she was looking at her funny. You know, it's
exactly,
like, okay,
yeah, like,
okay.
like,
So what should we show of who we are and what should we
yeah,
keep, you know?
it's like my right.
Yeah.
um,
So
but
anyway, so uh yeah, I had a pretty wild visionary experience while in that coma situation. Uh and so one of the things when I try to explain it, and it's like really difficult to explain, you know, because I just because I'm stupid, but I felt so I felt like I could like look. There was like this light, this like different color, like this emerald colored lighting. Some of it was blue. It was like all these different colors, but it was like I could when I looked at it, I could see that it almost looked like the like aurora borealis, like when you see
okay,
pictures of that.
yeah,
That's what it looked like,
okay,
right? So I can look at it and I could see that shape of it. I can see all those different colors. I can see all that difference. But also when I looked at it and I was like looking into it, I could see all things happening at once,
okay,
right? And it's like I had no way to comprehend it though, you
yeah,
know, but I also was very aware of that. I was
yeah,
very aware. And again, I'm like 9 or 10 years old
yeah,
and I'm seeing this thing and I'm like very aware that I'm seeing everything everywhere happening.
okay,
But I was also very aware that I couldn't comprehend all of that at the same time.
yeah,
And I very distinctly remember me trying to focus on just like, if I could focus on one thing, maybe I can see something, you know?
yeah,
And, you know, one of the things that I feel like I took with me, right, was a vision of my family, you know, and not just of my family, but of like, of course, well, if it's my family, it had to be the person I was also going to have kids with. Like I had a vision of my, not my total life with her, but like a glimpse.
Yeah, like one day at the grocery store or something, like just some.
But it felt like more,
Okay,
but
like a dream, like how a dream feels like an hour, but it was maybe 3 minutes or something.
yeah, and but it felt like goodness. It felt like there was a lot of goodness and love,
Okay,
and I felt like I was experiencing a long amount of love
sure.
with through the vision,
Like a
right?
lifetime in 1 minute or something.
Possibly, like I don't,
Like
it's hard to speculate on, and that's one of the things. So one of the things that I'm really afraid of is losing the memory of those types of things, right?
yeah.
And I feel like I learned, right, with some things that have like a phenomenal slant to it, where it's like, it moves you,
Hmm.
in a way. I feel like when you speculate on those things over time, you dilute the memory of the thing,
Mm,
because now you're no longer remembering it as it happened in a visceral way.
mm,
You're remembering what you think what happened meant,
yes.
right? So I'm very careful to not speculate, which it probably informs my habit of like, I only know what I know.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But like I try very hard to not speculate on what anything could have meant,
Sure.
right? Like what I know though is what I visually remember,
Yeah.
you know, and and how those and how the memory wasn't just associated with just like sight. It was like there was feeling to it. I remember, so I was
Oh, wait,
like
we're gonna get back. We're not gonna go too in depth. We're not gonna go too far into your memories, but we need to stop and take a
mm-hmm,
break because we're almost out of time in this segment. So we'll come right
gotcha,
back. All right. I
gotcha.
didn't want to cut you off, but I
Yep.
had to.
So yeah, I'll just say this real quick. So I remember having another memory where so I was looking into this, whatever,
Yeah.
and I see this little boy, and I'm like, I want to see what that little boy's up to. He looked about my age, you know, and he was like living in like a desert area, you
Okay.
know, and I could remember feeling the heat,
Oh,
So it was like it was like I wasn't just seeing again, and that's which is again probably why I had no way to comprehend everything, because I was feeling everything. I was
yeah.
seeing, feeling,
Yeah.
like the physical sensation of it, like the energetic sensation of it, the hearing. It was every way that a human has perception, you
Sure.
know. So, but yeah, it was. Yeah, I just remember a lot of things that afterwards made me feel really good about moving forward, living life, you
Yeah.
know. And I don't remember in a very nuanced way before I was hit by the car and had that experience how positive or how much I like for sure believed in myself that I was back then. But I know since then it was high, and I always kind of attributed it to like that experience and that like the different things that I took out of that my coma visions made me feel good going forward.
That's good. I feel like you actually had a profound spiritual experience or a near death experience. The way I think about, I don't know, coma is like you're not asleep, but you're not awake, but you're not using any regular brain functions.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're were you on like a breathing machine or like a
No,
respirator?
no,
Okay,
no,
all right.
no
So your
respirator.
lungs were working. So I feel like, but with the reduced function of like your muscles and anything, your brain doing all that other stuff, it's open. Your third eye probably got open right there as a little kid, honestly. Like, you know what I mean? You probably at the beginnings of a third eye awakening because there's that same book I was talking about with the near death experiences. Someone has reported going to the next step, the next stage or whatever, and seeing a bank of TV screens, just like you're describing almost like a screen
Mm-hmm.
where you see different things going on and you can look and do whatever. And the next, and then they, came back to life or whatever. They got code blue, got resuscitated or whatever. So it's very interesting that because I feel like a coma is probably that purgatory place almost between death and alive, where your body's not there. And when you talk about the soul, And maybe that's like your windows to your soul, kind of your soul's journey or your soul's path. That when you come here and you energetically alight a physical body, a soul in the womb, and you come here and you're like, I'm going to go to Earth and I'm going to go down there. And from wherever my soul is at that point in time, or in these alternate, let's say like parallel universes, multiverses stuff. Okay, I'm going to go to Earth. And you come here and you live a life here, and maybe you're living somewhere else, remotely viewing here, whatever.
Mhm.
um so your brain has these like memories in there that are pre-programmed because you're going to do this like a think of a video game missions that you go in and you play Resident Evil and you start at the beginning and you got to do X, Y, and Z missions that the developers put in there for you to do, that you developed and you programmed in your DNA, or however our souls work. I don't know. This is all speculation. I'm not going to speculate too hard, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to get into the why of your story. I kind of wanted to get into that weird part of it, or like what it means. Like, because obviously I think it just was a window into your future to be dead serious like for 1 second and not speculate on any why or how about it. It seems like you got a glimpse of your future, like psychic people get visions.
Yeah, but here's the crazy part though, right? So when Ainsley and I met
Yeah.
in college,
Yes. So however many 20 years later, let's say if 10, if you're 8 when you're in
yeah,
college, 11, 12, 13, whatever, a decade
yeah.
later
So
or so.
yeah. So I was say I was 8 or 9 when I was hit by the car,
Yeah.
and then Ainsley and I met when I was 20,
Yeah. So a decade,
right?
more than a
Yeah.
decade
So
later.
yeah,
Yeah.
12 to 11 years.
Yeah.
So when we met at a party and we're kicking, hanging out with each other, talking, we both felt like we knew each other from before.
Mhm.
Like we both felt like we remembered each other in a way where we were like, where we enjoyed each other.
Your energy. You remember their energy or something
Yeah.
almost. Yeah.
And she was never in a coma.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
you
She
know?
wasn't there.
Yeah. But like it wasn't like it was like later on, like different things would be like make me like every now and again I'd be like, was she the chick from the thing? You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, nah. Like who because at the same time, again, if you're being open-minded in a situation like this, like who's to say I wasn't seeing a vision of a version of me in a different dimension?
Yeah, true. I like that. I like that you
You
said
know?
that. A window to another, that mirror, wherever that other, maybe your twin soul's over there and he looks just like you. Well,
Yeah. Like
you know,
who yeah, I don't know specifically, I don't know specifically what I saw. So again, I'm
yeah,
just like, was that,
that's a really
is it
cool,
possible?
that's a cool
Yeah.
take on it. Yeah.
Yeah. But here's the thing. And here's the crazy part. And I can have
It's
this
actually a
is
pretty crazy story. You're minimizing it.
yeah, well, I'm not. Again, I can tell you the story. I can tell you what I know for a fact,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So, and Ansley, I mean, she's clearly sleeping now,
Yes.
but uh, she can confirm this. When we were having, because I again having these visions that would kind of like come to me every night. Like I remember, like, oh my god, is this girl? And like, are we gonna have that family?
Wait, I have to pause and ask you one question. Did you ever think of
Mhm.
that memory? Did you think of that before any during those 10 years? Did you ever think, oh, remember that time I had that coma vision? And like, you know what I mean? Like, remember, did it ever pop in your head? Like like the
Oh,
images that you
yeah,
saw?
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Very,
Okay.
very frequently, because
Okay.
like that's what I meant when I was saying like, is that girl from the
Okay.
thing?
Okay.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
thing that I
Like
was
you.
referring to is like
Yeah.
like the coma is like, is that
Yeah.
her? Is this her?
Yeah.
Like, is that why we feel like we both knew each other?
Sure.
Like when we met each other, like
Yeah.
are we, or are we connected? Am I connected with this chick
Yes.
already?
Yeah.
And so again, and this is what we can have Ainsley confirm.
Mhm.
So when we were about to have Finn, that's our first one. I told her, I was like, all right, we're gonna have twins. So this could be twins, right? And or you know, it's we're gonna, because I knew we were gonna have one with very light skin.
Mhm.
and I didn't want her to be freaked out and think that I suddenly think that she was being unfaithful. And this
Yeah.
is before he was born.
Born.
Like this
Yeah.
is in the womb. Like we're still like every time we would go to these appointments, like we have these like funny conversations, and I would tell her like this, he's if this, so and then like once we find out that it's gonna be just a boy, we find out it's not gonna be twins, it's just gonna be a boy. But we were until we found out that it was just gonna be a single. I we were mentally prepared for twins, right? Once we found out that it was gonna be a single, I was like, all right, this kid is gonna be way lighter than he should be, and
Yeah.
he's not like it's like he's not gonna ever not
He's
be lighter than he should be.
yeah.
Yeah, I swear to you, like we had that conversation so many times that it's memorable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because she thought it was crazy.
Yeah.
You know, but like eventually she would like I do have some lighter skinned people in my family that are pretty bright. Like I don't know. You can say my uncle Kevin is close to fit. Like I have some uncles that if they wanted to, if they start walking differently, they could pass for white.
Okay.
You know, and so yeah, and so we were, and so when Finn was born, and that was definitely the thing. I was like, oh my god, like I think for sure, for sure, I've seen this. You know,
Yeah.
and but then when we had the twins, man, it was like I'm not even. This isn't even in question anymore. You know,
Yeah.
because like we had the family that from when we start like living together and moving like all over the country with each other, and we realized that it was going to be us forever, and we started to comfortably have quite like conversations, not necessarily about like having kids right now, but conversations about the potentiality of our kids and how we'll be parents and what our kids are going to be, like that. When we're having those types of conversations, I was always, like, yeah, we're going to have, a one in twins. And I would say, so, I mean, the odds of that, of me calling that are pretty low, you know,
Yeah. I mean, you have to be careful because you could speak things into existence.
you
However,
can, you
however,
can,
however, for you to the twins thing, I mean, so you have, a twin in your family, your mom, whatever, on your mom's side,
mm-hmm,
but to know it is still unknowable. I think it's still unknowable without having that clear picture in your head.
mm-hmm,
Now, whether it was your parallel universe self or your just like, your life path, a vision of your, because if you see your whole life flash before your eyes before you die, as they say, if you're in a coma and you have an extended period of time to look at it, it could be either or. It could be either or. It really could be. It could be parallel with parallel remote viewing, or it could be totally just like, little scenes from people in your life or people in your soul family. It's
yeah,
it's too coincidental to not to where you then go, oh yeah, we're gonna have twins. Just like she
yeah,
probably just like like, and like you
mm-hmm.
had a reason for saying it. You weren't like just like, oh well, there's twins in my family. You're like, no, we're gonna have a single and twins.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. She can, and she can confirm all that stuff. And
I
it's like,
I believe it. I totally believe
yeah,
it. If you're saying you felt like you were like connected at meeting, and you
mm-hmm,
you had that instant recognition of a soul that you've encountered before or in some way where you said you could feel that love energy or whatever when you were like talking about looking at her in that remote viewing type place,
yeah,
so your soul can feel those vibrationally aligned on your whatever frequency you're vibrating. You already know all this, that you felt it, and then when you felt it again when you reconnected in the physical, um I think you two are on some kind of a. I think you two might be soul twins. I don't know. You're something. You got
yeah. I
something
don't
going
know.
on.
I know we got lucky.
Yeah.
I know, there are a lot of things had to come together for us to meet each other,
Yeah.
and it did.
Yeah.
And I think that was fortunate.
Yeah. And
You
like,
know.
yeah, and was it divinely orchestrated as well because you had the vision. I had a dream. I've had a dream about someone in my head that I'm not sure if I've met or not.
Yeah,
Like that feeling
yeah,
before. And so I appreciate that that you're
it,
like
yeah,
the right
right.
timing and circumstance.
Yeah. Well, see, here's what I do. I don't know about things that deeply in a spiritual manner, and
Sure.
maybe I wish that I did, right?
Yeah.
But I do believe in math, and I believe in patterns,
Hmm.
right? And I do also believe that there is a level of perception that humanity has forgotten that it has,
Mm.
right? And I feel like, for example, when an infant is born, I don't think an infant is born with the lack of that memory. I feel like I think babies are a lot more intuitive than we understand them to be because they don't have the capacity to communicate with language,
Hmm.
right? And but I don't think that means that they don't understand us. And like I mean from like day one, right? I think they have an ability to read people at a level that we wouldn't be able to understand because it gets lost over time. It gets shed, kind of like almost like a metamorphosis of sorts, like to make room for the socializing, the necessity of socializing.
The skills to be here and be a human and like do all that stuff.
Yeah, and because like we're very social animals, and if we can't figure out our way in a group, we'll die.
Yes.
So we have to be able to be like um maybe let's say third eye perception shit
Hmm.
gets in the way at an early age of developing the skills necessary to socialize properly to
Yeah.
survive,
It could
right?
that could very well be. Yeah.
Right. If you're, because I always try to look at things from, an evolutionary, like an evolve, like a point of evolving. But when I say evolutionary, that's kind of the way that I look at things. I try to look at things like through evolution, either grand or micro, right?
Okay.
So like a person from birth to death evolves over time,
Hmm.
right? And humanity as a group has evolved to the point that we are now,
Yes.
right? So um with that being said, I do believe that we can see and feel patterns, and some people have like premonitions that happen a lot, and or
Hmm.
some people are very intuitive about like, oh, this is going to happen, or these people are cheating, like
Hmm.
we feel things, we see that.
Yes.
And but most of the time we spend a lot of time telling ourselves that we're not seeing what we're seeing, and we do that so much that we can't trust it, right? Because if you're not trained in that type of vision, well, then it's very easy for you to get your vision clouded from your emotions and other maybe trauma that you're bringing into a situation. And so it's like, yeah, I get it. You feel strongly about it. Like you might be right, or you might be making that up.
Yeah. Like how people have memories that they recall, but then they recall it false memories and stuff. Like
Exactly.
you're bringing your physical experience with you along the way in the last 10 years or however long since something happened. So your soul growth has got to have a similar type thing like to it where, if you're bringing a personal bias in with however you're experiencing something, it's going to change it.
For sure. For sure.
Mm.
But I also think that we have the capacity to see through that, you know, but it's just not something that, and for God knows how long that's been the case.
Yeah.
But I think it's like maybe, so like I like math and I like numbers,
Me
right?
too.
And I like to do pattern shit. I like to play with
Yeah.
patterns all the time. I like mathematical patterns.
Yeah.
And every now and again, like, I do this stuff with my kids, and we'll be doing numbers and like, well, multiplying 3-digit numbers, and like, you're doing them in your, like, the practice of doing them in your head.
Hmm.
And every now and again, like it'll be a 3-digit number, and I'll be like, ba 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 ba,
Hmm.
and I don't even know how I did that, but it was just like one of those things. It was through the pattern of doing this so often, and then these particular numbers just happen to align with like my pattern recognition
Mm-hmm.
in a way that allowed me to spit out the answer rather than having to calculate the answer
And think about it.
quickly, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think there's a level of like subconscious perception, or like in the zone, like the zone, like when people are in the zone.
I just heard.
Yeah, yeah. Our fucking ESPN highlight perception
Yeah.
is just locked away. It's in the
It,
vault.
it's in the vault.
It's an ESPN classic, and we're like an ESPN current.
Yeah, it's on VHS. Nobody has a VHS player anymore.
Exactly.
You
That's
can't
an
watch
issue.
it.
You know,
If you take it
we
out
need
there,
to
it'll
bring
burn.
for sure. Trying to jam it in a DVD player. It's not like who even has a DVD player anymore?
I don't.
It's like if I can't stream it, I can't believe it. It's not real.
I mean, it's not real.
Yeah.
Actually really good. That makes me think of one more thing I actually had for you. Since we're talking about some weird stuff, I have one more share screen here. I know we did a lot. Have you heard of this? The Oculus Rift, the VR headset, popular VR headset, founder made a VR headset that will actually kill you if you die in a game. Did you heard of
Sick.
this?
I have not heard of this.
Okay. I heard of it. It was last November. It's
By the way, this is a terrible business idea.
I know, Palmer
Like,
Lucky. This
like
guy's
as far as
name.
like making more money,
Yeah, yeah. You
like
want repeat clients. You want repeat clients.
like he'll never have a reason to have an updated version,
Yeah,
right? Like who are you going to sell like your Oculus murder bot to?
you
You know what I
know,
mean?
you know. His name was Palmer Lucky. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but
Okay.
that's what it looks like. And he has been working on national defense tech since he left Facebook, or Oculus when he sold it to Facebook, rather. Um, he is not. It doesn't. Even though he sold it off, doesn't mean he's still investigating this weird. He details how he made a sword art online style. You die in the game, you die in real life headset. In the series, players are trapped in a giant immersive VR combat sim where if they die in the game, it will kill them for real, given that they are laced into nerve gear tech and they must figure out a way to win or escape. Lucky's
Mm.
version of this concept is a VR headset that is laced with charges that will explode, destroying the brain of the user if they trigger an appropriate game over screen.
Dude, that's got to be super expensive. There's
It's
no way nerve gas is out there like cheap.
I'm
Like nerve gear tech.
it's like
That's got to be some of
listen,
the most
listen to this
expensive murder.
psycho. Listen to this psycho. He goes, Lucky laments that he's only halfway to designing true nerve gear. The Sword Art Online Tech says, the good news is that we are halfway to making a true nerve gear. The bad news is that so far I have only figured out the half that kills you. The perfect half, VR half of the equation is still many years out. So he's killing people. He's been killing people secretly.
Wait, so he's saying, okay, so I got this VR headset that if you die in the game, you die in real life,
Yeah.
but so far it
Uh,
doesn't play the game. Like, right now, it only kills you. Like, what is
yeah.
happening?
I like this sentence. No one's actually playing. Lucky has not even tried the headset on himself, lest some sort of miscalculation on his part accidentally kill him, game over screen or not. That's a terrible bug you got to work out. He says
Yeah.
it's the only VR headset in existence that can kill the user. This, yeah, Jigsaw. Yeah, they compared it to Jigsaw. So I
Yeah,
just,
he's like, well, I can't die because if something ever goes wrong with them, who's going to be there to fix them? Only I know how to fix these things.
yeah, but I guess it's possible. It's potential they could make it to short circuit out little parts in your brain.
Oh, imagine all of the like pimply faced fat nerds returning their murder headset. Like, this
Like,
didn't even
I
kill
didn't,
me.
I didn't even die.
Yeah, this doesn't work. It didn't even fucking kill me.
I wanted to die.
Yeah, that's man, what an interesting fella that is.
Yeah, yeah. That's a Doctor
Yeah.
Evil type.
Yeah, but he sounds like like if like a mix between Mr. Bean and Dr. Evil.
Yes. Yeah. He's like kind of like haphazard about it. It's
Yeah, it's like
like,
what are we doing here?
yeah, because you
What
got
is
to find
happening?
somebody. Because the thing
Yeah,
is, he knows he has to be the first one to test that thing unless he somehow convinces some sap, like, I'll pay you $10 million if you
yeah,
survive this thing. Like
yeah,
the most
man.
dangerous
So
game 2023.
yeah, so I need to start talking about this more. What I'm about to tell you. So
Yeah.
Ansley, so back when we used to do Two Jack Bros, just us talking shit and just
Yeah.
having a go. So one time we were talking about how we got there because we were talking about suicide, talking about how suicide has to be coupled with the ability to commit suicide. So you need two things to
Yes.
happen for a person to commit suicide: desire and the ability to do it, right?
Yes.
And when those two things come together at the sweet spot, like at just the right time in a person's life,
Ding.
exactly, they're done. They're
It's
done.
little muffins coming out of the oven, dead ones.
Yeah, it's muffin time. It's, yeah. It's, I don't know why Mighty Muffin Rangers came to my mind, but I guess but
Strawberry.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we started talking, we're talking about this on the podcast, and we were talking about we're like making fun of like Sylvia Plath
Okay.
and how she killed herself with
It's
like
yeah.
the oven. And like there was a time in England where they had like town gas,
Oh.
and it was like very murderous gas.
Okay.
And at that time that they had that, they were having like so many suicides because they had not only it was women. A lot of women were using it to commit suicide because it allowed them to commit suicide in a way that left their body in like
And
a
nice
like
intact.
laying down like Cleopatra. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so once they got rid of town gas, which by the way was one of the largest civil restoration projects in the history of the world,
Okay.
right? When they changed the gas system, because
From
even their lampposts were
oh,
powered by
sure. Yeah, the old
town gas.
timey, yeah.
Yeah.
It all went
So
through the street like aqueducts, but of gas.
yeah, that like we could have easily blew up England.
Oh, it would have
You know
never
what I mean?
worked here. It would have never worked here if they tried that shit here.
No. And so we were talking about suicide, and then we started talking about how what they should do is they should allow people that want to commit suicide to volunteer themselves for human experiments,
Sure.
right? And that way, if they die, that's what they wanted. And if they help cure something or invent
Yeah.
something, it's like they're kind of heroes, right?
Makes sense to me. They had
Right?
to
It's
figure out
it's
kidney transplants on someone to give me one
dude,
today.
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful system. Everybody's getting what they want.
Everybody wins.
We should even televise it so we get to watch it. You
Honestly,
know what I
bring it
mean?
back. Bring it back. It's like the
So
draft. Bring it back.
yeah, so we talked about that, and then somebody that was listening, like like, would listen to the podcast back then, was an author,
Okay.
and so he wrote a short story about it that got published in like a short story publication, and like our names are in it, you know, and now he just recently wrote a full novel about it,
Oh,
and it's about to get published. So,
okay.
and it's like so Ansley and I are about to be in a novel.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, but yeah, we're all about human experiments over here.
I mean, look, I like it. One of my favorite human experiments is weird food. I like to eat weird stuff. I like to eat weird snacks, weird combos. I know I segued there right into it, but
No, but yeah, let's get there. What's your combo?
um I've already said so many of my own. Let me try to think of a new one. Oh, I had uh, my grandma made a blackberry pie. So she had vanilla ice cream, put vanilla ice cream on top of it. I heated the pie up first, and then I melted peanut butter and poured that on top of there. So it was like a peanut
Okay.
butter and jelly pie.
Have you ever tried? I've never. Yeah, have you ever tried cream cheese on an apple pie?
No.
It is so good.
Oh, okay. Any
It
kind of apple
is
pie,
so
homemade,
good.
McDonald's. What are we talking here?
I've tried the crumb, like the apple pie with the
Okay,
like what
Dutch
is it?
crumb or
Dutch
whatever.
Dutch apple pie, yeah.
Yeah.
And then like the
Okay.
lattice apple pie. It's good on all of them.
You just like
It's like
scoop it out of the square thing, or like what's
Yeah,
it?
I like the whipped
Whipped
cream
is good.
cheese
Whipped
the
is good.
best.
My sister likes that.
And but I've used other ones. I've used
Okay.
all of the cream cheeses.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, the whipped cream cheese, you can spread it or you can just like
It's puffy. Yeah.
dip a fork and then
Hmm.
like
It
get
makes sense. It's
the
like Cool Whip, but less
yes,
sugar.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very good.
Cream cheese on apple pie. All right. I like that. That's my
Yeah.
style. I like it. Just something. Now, is this something you've eaten for a long time, or you just randomly did it one day?
No, so when I got fat, it was because I was eating everything I could think of.
Sure.
Like in every food combination, I wanted to try everything.
Yeah.
You know, because before I got fat, I was a very I was living in like an athlete's life, and I was like eating an athlete's diet, and I was
Okay.
always trying to like, stay a certain weight and all this other stuff. But once I graduated from college, I was like, I'm eating everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was one of my discoveries. I mean, another one of my favorite food things to do. It's not. I don't think it's really unique, but I just don't hear of a lot of people doing it. Which is you get peanut butter crackers,
Hmm.
and then you just take jelly, put it on the cracker, and just eat it like that.
That blew
And
my
I
mind just now.
do. I've. But here's the deal. But here's the deal. I guarantee you've taken a Ritz cracker, put
Yeah.
peanut butter on it, put jelly on it, taken another Ritz cracker, closed that up, and eaten it.
Not many times, but I feel like I have done that once or twice, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
We just do Ritz with butter at my house. We're just fat.
okay, yeah, but a lot of people that I talk to who have never thought of putting jelly, like a
on
spoonful of jelly, on an
on the
already
little
existing peanut
sandwich
butter
one.
cracker. Dude, it's already done for you.
And they're so good anyway.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
like,
wow. You just gave me something I have to try.
oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna do a Patreon someday, and some of these things I'm gonna have like tastings. I'm gonna have like weird food tastings with the things people bring up.
Oh yeah. Well, you can also cream cheese with these as well.
That
You
sounds
can,
good. That sounds
yeah,
pretty good. Do you do wait
yeah.
jelly and cream cheese? I used to eat jelly and cream cheese sandwich.
Jelly and cream cheese
Okay,
on the peanut butter
on the peanut
cracker.
butter cracker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, and as much as either if you want.
yeah.
There's
There's
not
no
a
limit.
combination where you're like, oh, that was too much cream cheese. It's delicious.
There's never too much cream
It's
cheese.
never, never. And it's always just the right amount of jelly. Like you're good.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think I'm gonna know what I'm gonna have for my snack after we get off here.
Oh, I do it every night.
I'm a huge
Right?
Ritz and butter every night person, but
Okay. Yeah. Ainsley is our I guess our butter scientist of the house. She put oh no, to be fair, I butter up quite a few things. Um, let me think. I'm gonna think about what I do with butter real quick because
yeah.
I do like putting butter on things.
Yeah, I like just the Ritz cracker, make a little sandwich with a little like seasoning, the everything seasoning in there, make a little sandwich out of that. But just the butter's
Mm-hmm.
good, honestly. Trying to think butter on what else? I mean, I know we leave our butter out. Do you do that?
Oh yeah, to
Yeah.
soften it up. But
Yeah.
we always yeah.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I mean, but then we like sometimes we don't. It doesn't come back because like Anthony likes to put it back in at the end
Oh
of the night.
no,
Well,
I don't put
maybe
it
that was
in.
my idea, but yeah. So yeah, it's like we don't always have room temperature butter,
Okay.
But
I
it's
strive
a
for
nice
it. I strive for it.
yeah. It's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
yeah. I do put butter on a lot of like prepackaged sweet treats.
oh,
You know, like if you get like cinnamon rolls.
okay.
So I don't own a microwave.
Okay. I
We
don't use
only
it. There's one in my
yeah
house, but I don't use it.
yeah we only use a toaster oven
Me too.
in his house.
Yeah.
So you
I don't
pop like
trust the
a
damn science oven.
nah, neither do I. It's fuck out of here. Radiation, no thank you,
No.
no
Anyway.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They
So
say yeah, but I do believe in twin flames. No, it's like
look, more
yeah,
likely.
yeah. So if you like just take a cinnamon roll, pop it in a toaster oven, or just heat it up, however you heat it up. Pop some butter on top of that. Eat that. Delicious.
Yeah.
Any sort of like coffee cake,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Sure.
delicious.
Sure.
Old I have tried it on a glazed donut.
Oh.
It is delicious.
Okay, it's like say,
However,
is it savory? But like you also are like,
oh, it's like you shouldn't do it.
I
You know what I mean? It's like
you,
it's
it's
a
the devil's snack.
it's heroin. It's like that is for sure snack heroin.
Yeah,
Dude, I'm telling you, butter, heat up a glaze. I mean,
I'm
just to
gonna
see
go to
what it's like.
Wawa.
Yeah, and well, those are the donuts that I was using too, by the
Yeah,
way.
they're
So
so good.
that's the perfect experiment. But if so, the one that I was going to give you that I will still do and not, it still probably shouldn't be done, but the old fashioned donut,
Oh,
heat that up,
okay.
put butter on top of that. That
Forbidden,
is
forbidden donut.
so good. It's so good. I've even like like take one of our super sharp knives and like
Mhm. Made a
slit it
little,
in half to
ooh,
make a
like a
little sand and
bagel.
then like yes, I bageled my
Ooh,
donuts. Yeah,
with
it's
some cinnamon sugar or something on there.
no, I've only
Just
added
plain.
butter to it. I've never
Okay.
added other,
I've never
because
added butter, so I'm gonna try
yeah,
that. And I would go for, we always have a little cinnamon sugar pre-made. My grandma always mixes the cinnamon and the sugar in the little jar.
yeah,
We always have a little shaker of that. A little donut sandwich sounds good.
yeah. Ainsley likes to take she likes to have the cold butter. She likes to slice cold butter, put like that square on
Yeah.
bread and like bite that.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's her move.
Okay.
She likes her butter hard.
So I kind of appreciate that, almost that consistency, the coldness with a warm donut might be kind of like a how I eat like a cream cheese on a bagel without like, I put the cold cream cheese on a bagel, like not
Yeah.
toasted, just like like raw, not raw. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I don't I don't like wait for it to come to room temperature. I eat it when it's cold, the cold cream cheese.
Are you a root beer float type of person?
When we were kids, we always did that, but I can't. They actually give you kidney stones. They say that soda
Okay.
floats give you kidney stones, so I don't mess with them anymore.
Heard that. I mean, I don't really eat them that much, but
They're good as hell.
the vanilla ice cream from
Yeah.
McDonald's
Oh, I saw
in,
this. Is it?
inside of a Coke.
I saw in the Coke, and I saw somebody do in the high C, and they claim it tastes like a creamsicle. I don't know because it's not
Man, I've
carbonated.
yeah, I used to work at McDonald's.
Yeah.
And we used to get real fat with it. You know, like yeah, there's some fun McDonald's combination. I mean, like nothing. I guess nothing really. Like if you get a filet of fish sandwich,
Mhm.
instead of getting the tartar sauce, get barbecue sauce on it.
Okay.
It's so good. It's
All
so
right.
good. Um, I mean, and that's if you're like not trying to be too decadent, but if you don't really give a fuck, get barbecue like get the tartar sauce on it, get barbecue, ask for a barbecue sauce, open it up, pour the barbecue sauce on top, and like, my
Have it.
God.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
that's pretty special.
Okay. That
That's
sounds good. It sounds sweet and savory, which is like one of my
yeah.
favorite things. I like barbecue sauce on almost anything meaty.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and sweet spicy is like my favorite type go-to thing.
Okay. Sweet and
Um,
spicy. I don't know if I do anything sweet and spicy.
like actually a few times I bought chili flake infused honey, which is actually
Ooh,
really good. It has that kick. Even if you
yeah.
put it in tea, even if you just like use it regular, but then when you like, because I like just chicken nuggets and honey. That was at McDonald's when we were kids, and they had the honey packets and little
Mm-hmm.
squares. So I always just liked honey, but the spicy honey. It's nice.
Yeah,
Make it
that
really
sounds
easy. You just pour
yeah.
red pepper flakes in a thing of honey. You just make your
I like
own.
it when it's easy.
It's
I
easy.
like it. Yeah, it's nice and easy.
Um,
Uh I'm not a spicy guy.
okay.
Yeah. I'm more of like sweet dough and butter.
I think I remember you telling your previous fat Sydney stories before and saying donuts were one of the biggest catalysts, right? In
Yeah.
that.
I don't know what it is about round pastries.
I
I
love
fucking
round
love them.
things. I love circle shaped things.
Yeah, it's the best.
It's so good, especially if it has a hole in there.
Yeah, give me the whole.
I want the hole. That's the absence of calories,
Yeah.
but the deliciousness is
Nah,
there.
yeah, that's not I don't consider that wasted money. I
No,
consider that a
it's
luxury.
good. It's an attachment. You put it on your finger if you want. No, we have the Amish store down in Bristol, and they have some gourmet donut shop in there.
Dude, apple cider donuts with butter.
Apple
You
cider
gotta be
donut.
kidding me.
Okay, all right. I
You
need
gotta
donuts
be
with
kidding
butter
me. Yes.
immediately.
Yes.
I have to go get
But
them right
again,
now.
heat them up. Heat them
All
up
right.
too. Especially the apple cider donuts. I mean, just like, by the way, for the record, apple cider donuts when you get them, heat them up before you
Okay.
eat them.
Yes. I
Always.
agree. I'm gonna go and see if they have them. They don't because it's summer. I have to run to Wawa. I hate to cut this short. I've had so
All
much
good.
fun.
Yeah.
Um, I could talk for 4 hours, I'm sure. We'll have you back on sometime again. Think of another crazy story for me. Do you want to tell the people where to find you, or I'll put it all in the description? Up to you.
Yeah, two Jack Bros at Sidney Gantt on all social media, SIDNEYGANTT.
All right. Give Sydney a follow. Check him out. He's hilarious. I love the podcast. This was great. You have anything else? You done? You good?
No,
Yeah.
we're
Less
good.
than a
Thank you
minute.
so
All
much.
right. Peace out, man.
Later.
See ya.